Welcome to the Gab with the Gurus radio show, where you get entertained, educated, and motivated by top experts in a variety of fields, including health, fitness, the law of attraction, relationships, and social networking. Your host, Connie Bennett, is a speaker, certified life coach, certified health counselor, journalist, and author of the book, Sugar Shock. Learn about Connie at sugarshock.com. Now, here's Connie.
Greetings, everyone. I hope you've had a chance to listen to the 5 shows last week for Gratitude Week. If you haven't, I encourage you to check them out. Literally had an entire week of shows all about gratitude. And as I had mentioned last week, they were sort of inspired because of my July 4th accident in which I accidentally slammed into glass with my head. And my prominent thoughts after having had that happen were gratitude. I was grateful to be alive. So I'm a very grateful person, so I did a whole week of gratitude shows. Anyhow, so we're today going to have a very, very special guest with us. His name is Steve G. Jones. He is a renowned hypnotherapist. What you are going to learn today is the power of your mind. You know how sometimes you may think, oh, you can't do X, Y, Z, whether it's, losing weight or, as, readers of my book, Sugar Shock, you can't kick sugar. You may think you can't. Or you may say, well, you're having money issues and you're feeling like there's no way out. Well, we're going to talk to you about your self-talk, because your self-talk is very, very important. And your thoughts have incredible power. So you may think that you have no control over your thoughts. But you know what? You do. And Steve is here to teach us how to guide our thoughts when we want, so that we become the master of our thoughts and our emotions instead of having them run us over. So training your self-talk and your thoughts is actually a skill, and it's a practice. So it's sort of an exercise, the way lifting weights or going to the gym or doing yoga are. So, Steve, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, my pleasure, Connie. Great to be here.
So let's begin first by talking to people about their subconscious mind. What exactly is your we're going to just, start from scratch here. What is your subconscious mind, and how does it differ from your conscious mind? And then how much power does it have over our actions and behaviors and thoughts and attitudes?
Okay, well, I believe the first question was, what is the subconscious mind?
Right.
And what was the second one? I'm sorry.
Well, we'll ask.
You want to throw them out one by one?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm sorry about that.
That's all right.
To be honest with you, I am so intrigued by this subject. So I'm
Okay.
full of questions.
Well, we will get to every one of them, and we'll take it from the top, and then when I finish that one, just let me know the next one. The subconscious mind is the last great frontier. It's what Sigmund Freud tried to get to through psychoanalysis. It's what Timothy Leary tried to get to through psychedelic drugs. It's what everyone tries to get to when they try to change habits. It's the great unknown to many people. It's something that's like an abyss, and people wonder what's in there, and what does it even matter if it's running itself anyway? It's working behind the scenes anyway. What does it matter if I get in there or not? If I get in there and tinker with things or not? Isn't that God's domain after all, to program us to be a certain way? And shouldn't we just let that programming run? Well, actually, as we discover more and more about the subconscious mind in our modern-day enlightenment, we find that the subconscious mind is something that we should be very concerned with getting into and reprogramming, because it's been programmed against our will throughout our entire lives. When we're taught from an early age that we're only worthy of making a certain amount of money, or we are only worthy of having certain types of partners, maybe abusive partners, or we're only worthy of living in certain types of places, maybe places that are kind of run down and things aren't working very well. We get these ideas subconsciously from our parents, from our surroundings, from our teachers, from everyone else, and they've really infiltrated our thinking and become part of us. So as we become adults and we get more interested in cleaning up some of the things that happen against our will, not with anyone's ill intentions, it's just stuff that happened as we grew up, then we become more aware of the different modalities that there are, the different therapies there are, the different ways there are to get in there and change some things. And hypnotherapy is one of those ways. We can get into the subconscious mind, we can actually rewire what's happened, and we can change the way that we think about our possibilities and live a new future rather than the one that was predetermined by our past experiences. So the subconscious mind is that level of the mind that's just below our consciousness. We're not really aware of it all the time, although it does tell us what to do. When you think about something telling you what to do, that sounds kind of ominous. It sounds like Big Brother telling you what to do and controlling your every thought and action, but that's exactly what's going on. And people who say that they can't be hypnotized or they don't believe in that nonsense or, that's hocus pocus, unfortunately those people, as well as the rest of us, are being affected every second of every day by our subconscious mind, and we're being told what to do. So what we do in hypnotherapy is we get into the subconscious mind, which is that area of awareness just below our natural awaking awareness, that area of dreams and so forth, and thoughts that come up from the past, and thoughts that tell us, what kind of clothes we should wear and where we should go and where we shouldn't go and what kind of manners we should have and who we should hang out with, what kind of job we should get. We get in there and we rearrange everything through hypnosis. We reprogram it to what we want to be in there, because there are a lot of things in there that are causing us to smoke, causing us to overeat, causing us to bite our nails, causing us to be afraid of flying, causing us to do all kinds of things that we'd really rather not do. So that's the subconscious mind, and that's how hypnosis comes into play with it.
So you raised something very, very interesting, which is that what you want to get to is your subconscious mind when you change habits.
Right.
And tell us a little more about that.
Okay, and that's become the big thing recently. When I first got into hypnotherapy, I was interested in past life regression, for example, and I was interested in exploring what makes us tick. But most people are interested in changing habits. They want to make an investment in their subconscious mind, and they want to get something in return for it. So rather than being interested in this journey that they can go on to explore all of the facets of their subconscious mind, we find these days that people are very very focused when they get into hypnosis and the subconscious mind. They want to get something for it. They want to get in there and change something. So we do find a lot of the conversations in hypnotherapy and the subconscious mind gravitating toward that. So with that in mind, the subconscious mind is in charge of what you do. It's in charge of whether you smoke or not. It's in charge of whether you overeat or not. And the way that we reprogram that is by putting positive thoughts in your mind that have to do with doing things differently. No longer having to overeat, no longer having to smoke, no longer having to bite nails and so forth. And it's done very easily, actually. There's not really any rocket science to it. It's done by simply relaxing the client into a hypnotic state, which can be done just by simply relaxing them, and then telling them that they're going to change. And people look at that and they say, wow, how can it be that simple? But it really, and it doesn't always work. Hypnotherapy, just like anything else, doesn't always work. It's not 100% foolproof. It's not for everyone. There is a percentage of failure in everything, and that's just the way it goes. You have a heart transplant, and you can go to one of the best hospitals in the world. Let's say you go to Johns Hopkins. I don't know if they do heart transplants, but probably. It's not guaranteed that it's going to work. It's not guaranteed that even though you have the best science behind you, the best doctors behind you and everything, it's just not 100% guaranteed. just like hypnotherapy. It is scientific. There are some top experts in the field who will be pulling for you and working for you, but it's not guaranteed. However, I found that it's more successful than anything else I've ever seen. 10 years of talk therapy, it stands up against that and knocks it down easily.
10 years, you'd say?
Well, you can have 10 years of talk therapy to get better.
You've had clients have you had clients who've told you, wow, I was in therapy for 10 years, and I'll be darned, I worked with you for, I don't know, a month?
Yeah, I have one testimonial on my website that says I was helped more in 3 weeks with hypnotherapy than 3 years of talk therapy.
Wow.
The ratio is astounding because you're dealing with a subconscious mind. You're not just telling someone, hey, I think you should analyze this and maybe think about changing, and maybe. You're getting in the subconscious mind. You're saying, do it now, fix it now, change it now.
How interesting. So tell us really briefly for people who are new to this, what's the difference between hypnotherapy and hypnosis?
Well, hypnosis is putting someone in the hypnotic state. You're going deeper and deeper, relaxing, and so you can wave a pendulum in front of them if you want to be showy about it, which most professional hypnotherapists don't do anymore. But if you just put someone into a hypnotic state, you just relax them into a hypnotic state, and they're in kind of a dream-like trance. They feel good and relaxed, and they may or may not remember it when it's over. That's hypnosis. Hypnotherapy comes in when you do the same thing, put them in the dream-like trance, relax them, but then you give them a positive suggestion while they're there, like, hey, you're not going to smoke anymore. And we usually avoid the word not and don't and so forth. But that's the idea, that we're stopping them from doing something.
So hypnotherapy, you add positive thoughts. Okay.
Right, which in my hypnotherapy training we call the script. The script is the part of the hypnotherapy session where we're specifically programming them. In fact, that's a question on the final exam in the hypnotherapy class I teach. What's the difference between hypnosis and hypnotherapy? The script. The script is where you program them to change. If you just relax them and don't program them to do anything, that's hypnosis. If you relax them and program them to do something, that's hypnotherapy. You've introduced the therapy element.
So I actually started to say this before the show began. I didn't have a chance to finish, which is that I actually signed up for your course, but I just haven't had a chance to finish it yet. You're
in the hypnotherapy class?
I signed up for your online 8-week hypnotist certification course.
Oh, okay, great. Which website did you sign up for that through?
Oh, I don't remember because it was a couple months ago, and then I had a concussion in the middle of all this.
Okay. All right. It's offered by quite a few. Yeah.
It was you. It was definitely you.
No, I know it was me, but we have hundreds of distributors of that program. I was just curious.
No, it was on your site. So for those of you who are
again, that limits it to 100 sites.
Oh, well, for those of you who are thinking of learning more about this, I encourage you to check out Steve's certification courses. So you will be able to go a little bit later to my blog, which is sugarshockblog.com, and we're going to have all kinds of links so that you can get more information. Again, my guest today is Steve G. Jones, and he is a renowned hypnotherapist. If you do a Google search on Steve, which I did, you come up with, oh my goodness, the guy has more than 6 million results. Okay, that's quite impressive. In fact, I cannot become your friend on Facebook because A, I've got too many friends, and B, you've got too many friends.
They limited to 5,000 for some reason, but the fan page.
No, but you can't. But if you have too many friends yourself, you can't even join fan pages.
I have that same problem. Yes.
So I can't join your fan page.
Yeah, Facebook told me I couldn't join a fan page until I quit some other fan pages.
Right.
So I quit some other fan pages, and I still can't join any.
I've had the same situation. So for Facebook people who are listening to my show, what I normally do is I feature the experts, and then I tag them. I couldn't even tag you this time.
They won't even let you do that. Wow.
So let me just tell listeners again. So we have with us Steve G. Jones, who is so popular. He can't become my friend, but you can fan him.
I'm banned in 47 countries on Facebook.
And he will help. He's going to help us learn about the power of hypnosis, hypnotherapy to lose weight, quit smoking, gain confidence, kick sugar, which is one of my favorite topics, boost your motivation, and much more. Steve is a board-certified clinical hypnotherapist. He's been practicing hypnotherapy since the 1980s. And he's the author of 14 books on hypnotherapy. He's a member of the National Guild of Hypnotists, the American Board of Hypnotherapy, the president of the American Alliance of Hypnotists, and he's on the board of the directors of the LA chapter of the American Lung Association. He sees clients who have a variety of conditions, so they want help. And even if he doesn't see them, he sells just so many darn CDs. It's like amazing. I tried to count. Well, actually, I gave up because he has downloads to help you with weight loss, anxiety, quitting smoking, test-taking, phobias like fear of flying, nail biting, road rage, anger management, IBS, general wellness, pre-surgical and pre-dental pain control, natural childbirth, and many others. I don't think there's one subject there that you can't find.
We tried to cover it all, and it was all due to customer questions. They said, do you have a recording on this? And we say, no, but we will next week, and then we would produce it. So just responding to, just giving the people what they want. I think that's a kink song. But just by doing that for over 20 years, we've got the collection that we have.
So let's assume somebody wants to change a habit. So let's say it's a person. We're going to take one of my favorite topics, of course. They want to either kick sugar or they want to, let's say, quit binging. Let's toss in one other. Let's say they don't get enough sleep. They're addicted to late nights. So what is the first thing then that somebody should do if they want to change their habits like that?
Well, we have 25 recordings for each of those three topics that you just So we have a number of ways to attack it. We have daytime recordings, nighttime recordings. We have deep brain entrainment recordings. We have recordings of binaural tones. So
wait, what was the last one?
Binaural tones. Those are tones that you hear a left and a right channel normally in a stereo, but with binaural tones, you also, this is my understanding from what the sound engineers developed, you get a third tone in the center of your head. It sounds like it's coming from the center of your head. But there does seem to be some therapeutic value, aside from the neat factor, the cool factor, there does seem to be some therapeutic value to that also, to the binaural tones. So they've come under a lot of attention in the last few years.
The binaural tones. Okay, cool. You know, before we began, I told you, and listeners know that I had suffered from a concussion. Well, my doctor called it post-concussive syndrome, and a friend of mine who is a hypnotherapist, her name's Deborah Burnt, she gave me a gift, best gift, and it was a healing download. And I have literally been listening to it, easily 3 times a day to heal my head and my headaches and my dizziness and all of that. And within literally, I would fall asleep on the couch and listen to it over and over. And it was quite remarkable to me how within 2 weeks I changed from just intense, ferocious headaches and dizziness, and I'm just feeling so much better. And I really do credit that download.
Oh, very nice.
So
good to see hypnotherapists doing good work throughout the world.
Yeah. So how often does somebody want to listen to something? So let's say somebody wants to kick sugar. What would be the plan?
Well, we recommend 21 nights. I recommend
21 nights.
Right. It's that's something. It's kind of become a catchphrase in the self-help world. I
3
haven't
weeks
seen tremendous,
to change a habit.
Right.
Yeah,
I haven't seen as a researcher and someone going through a doctoral program. I myself am very very interested in using a scientific method for everything.
Right.
And I haven't seen a tremendous amount of research saying, yes, 21 days to change a habit is, the way it goes. But it's more of a catchphrase in the self-help world. But it does seem to make intuitive and logical sense that if you are attempting to change something, you really should stick with it for a while, but not too long. Because if you're focusing on, let's say you're focusing, for example, on stopping binge eating, which is the second thing you mentioned. We have a recording on that. It's called Stop Binge Eating.
Yeah, I saw that.
I recommend. And now some people buy the downloadable MP3 because they want it right now. Some people get the CD. But let's say you've got an MP3 in your iPod and you're playing it every night. Stop binge eating. Well, if you do it 3 weeks, I think that's great because you're staying the course. You're realizing, hey, I'm supposed to stop binge eating. So if nothing else, during the day, you remember, wait a minute, I listened to that MP3 last night. I'm not supposed to do this, so why don't I not do it? And also you're programmed subconsciously. But if you continue doing it after that, then you're kind of just reminding yourself that you had that challenge anyway. And so it's just kind of ongoing, like you may stop doing it, and then you look at this MP3 and you think, oh, wait a minute, I'm a binge eater. That's what I am. I'm identifying with it. So I like the 3-week model because of that. Now, it's not written in stone. It can be longer or shorter. But right around that time seems to be good because you're not doing it too short. In other words, you're paying proper attention to get rid of it. And you're not doing it too long. You're not continuing to associate with that label. So that's why I like 3 weeks. So they would listen to the recording for 3 weeks every night, and it would go into their subconscious mind and allow them to change.
Uh-huh. So how exactly does hypnosis work?
Well, hypnosis is very simple, and the answer is we don't know. The real answer is we don't know, kind of like quantum physics. Why do certain parts of our universe disappear completely off any scientific radar for a moment and then reappear somewhere else? Why can two protons be entrained to be like each other and be separated by 300 light years and interact with each other? Physics says that's possible, but physics has no idea why. And that's just like hypnosis. We know it's possible, but we have no idea why. We don't know why we're equipped with this machinery that allows us to be programmed. My best guess is that it's something that allows us to learn. We are, after all, learning systems. Our brains are not like computers necessarily. They are in some regards, but they're much more advanced. They're learning computers. They're computers that can constantly learn, and if they get damaged, which I understand happened to you recently, the brain can compensate for that and can restructure itself. So I think that because we're constantly learning, we are these learning computers, if you will, we want to take in information from our environment and make sense out of it. So we have the capacity to learn ongoingly, but some of it we don't need to consciously learn. We just need to take in little things like, okay, this person is bad, this person is good, fire is hot and will burn me, there's a police officer over there, so I should stop speeding. But I don't need to consciously think about these things all the time. They log into my subconscious mind, and they become part of my programming. So I think it's because of the fact that we have so many things going on, and we need to learn constantly. That's why our subconscious mind is there and is programmable. So it can take on a lot of information without us having to input it like a computer. Okay, must stop when I peripherally see a police officer to the right. That might be hot over there, must move away from fire. So we don't have to think about those things in a childlike way like that. It's instantaneous. So we can take advantage of that system that we have, which is the ability to be programmed, and we can use it to program ourselves. And the way we access it in the hypnotherapy setting is we just relax the person. We relax the client. We tell them a relaxing story about walking along the beach, for example, walking in the woods. And once we have them in a relaxed state, then we can put the programming in their minds. You will do things differently. Instead of reaching for an ice cream bar, you will think that's like liver or something else that they don't like. Instead, you will reach for broccoli, which you now enjoy the taste of. So We don't know why it works, but that's how it works.
So you've been doing this for quite a long time. Tell us some success stories.
Well, there have been many. Unfortunately, we have a little federal law called HIPAA now, which protects patients' rights, so I can't share everything.
You don't have to name any names.
Okay.
No, I'm not asking for names. Just
No, that's fine. In the 80s, interviews were great because I could say, oh, yeah, Sally stopped binging.
Yeah, no, we're not going to mention names, of course.
The generic presentation of that, let's see. So there have just been so many in every category. I mean, we now, we sell thousands of downloads every day from the thousands of websites that we have. So we're constantly getting thank you letters for everything. People losing weight, people stopping smoking, people overcoming fear of flying, people stopping biting their nails. Pretty much every category that you can think of, we've had a success story or 1,000 success stories in that we know of. So,
well, tell us some weight loss ones.
Let's see. One sticks out. I think I put this one, or I had the web designer put this one on one of the websites one time. We had this lady named Jen, and I'm not recalling all the specific details right now, and this is a typical weight loss story.
Okay.
Jen actually, I believe she was an in-person client. She came to see me in person. This was before I started charging the celebrity rates and became a little bit unaffordable in person. But I used to have a lot of clients in person, especially when I had my office in Beverly Hills. And Jen was a client of mine. She came to me. She had a problem, or a challenge as I like to call it, which was she was overweight, and she didn't like it, and she wanted to change. So she did. She started eating differently with programming hypnotically, and she started losing weight. And she wrote this wonderful, just heart-touching letter to me, which was that she had lost the amount of weight that she wanted to lose. She met the man of her dreams, and she described him in detail, which was exactly what she wanted. And she was just happier than ever. Now, that doesn't mean that the overweight version of Jen couldn't have been just as happy and couldn't have been just as successful in meeting a wonderful man. That certainly doesn't mean that. But what was important to Jen was the way she looked, and the way she looked was affecting the way she felt. So I thought it was a success first and foremost in the sense that Jen finally felt better about herself and who she was. And when I see stories, I don't care if people go out and make $1 million and have boat and whatever. None of that stuff really impresses me if they succeed in that. But what does impress me is when people feel that they've reached their personal best and they finally feel comfortable with who they are and they finally feel they're making a contribution to the world. So we see letters like that a lot these days, and Jen's really sticks out in my mind.
That sounds like a wonderful, wonderful story. What about yourself? What anything happened with you?
Well, with me, all kinds of wonderful things have happened, and I think if I worked in a factory that made cigarettes, I'd probably be hanging around a bunch of smokers, and I'd get lung cancer. If I worked at a fast food place, I'd probably be eating greasy food and I'd get overweight. Luckily, I work in the self-help industry, so I'm helping people program themselves for success, so I get programmed for success as a byproduct. So you get a little bit on you wherever you work.
Oh, it rubs off.
It rubs off. So it rubbed off on me, and I because of making all these recordings and listening to them all the time and doing all these sessions with people, it just naturally rubbed off on me. I'm in there with a client telling them they're going to be going after their dreams and achieving and so forth, so it rubbed off on me over the years. So, I have everything that I want. We're always expanding. I attribute that to just the idea of there's always something else to do. We hold that idea near and dear at all of my offices, that there's always more we can do for the world. So personally, I feel very successful. I don't define that in terms of money, although I I'm certainly not lacking for money, but I define success in terms of being able to do what I want to do, which is contribute to the world in a full-time capacity. I don't have to do anything else. I don't even have to do this if I don't want to, but I choose to, and it's nice to be able to choose to. And when you choose to do something that helps the entire world, I think that's a gift that I have, that I've been given. I've been given the luxury to be able to do that through a lot of hard work and effort over the years, but it paid off because people responded to it and because we actually were helping people. If we weren't helping people, it wouldn't have gone anywhere. So because of that, I'm able to do more of that. So personally, I feel that I've reached a tremendous level of success in terms of being able to give back to the world.
Well, you certainly, gotten all kinds of rave reviews. So, what for many people, what do you think is? Well, let me backtrack. Some people sort of have this perception of hypnosis that it's just for performances. What do you how do you deal with people, or what can you say to people who have sort of a misconception as to what hypnosis is about?
Well, when I used to have clients come into when I was a full-time hypnotherapist, in other words, seeing clients full-time, which now I very rarely do, by the way, because I've set the prices high so I can have more time to record and do seminars. But one of the main things that I saw when clients would come in the office 8 hours a day was them saying to me, "Now you're not going to make me cluck like a chicken, are you? Or you're not going to make me bark like a dog, are you?" And I'd always say, "No, I charge extra for that." So they never had to worry about it. But that's a misconception that comes from the world of stage hypnosis and movies,
right.
Like, God bless Woody Allen. But, he made the movie Curse of the Jade Scorpion, where he calls up a person and he says, Madagascar, and suddenly they're programmed to react to that word and go rob a bank or go rob their neighbor's house. And people see this and they think, it's entertaining, but it gets stuck in their minds. And they think, oh, my God, what if that's true? What if they could use hypnotherapy to program people, to have them do things against their will? And that's not really the way hypnotherapy works. We don't cause anyone to do anything they wouldn't ordinarily do. The other thing that is working against us would be stage hypnosis. People get called up on stage, and when I first moved to Savannah, Georgia, I would I'd hear all kinds of stories like my friend Billy. We went to a show, and next thing you know, he's up there singing like Madonna. And people have experiences with the going to a stage hypnosis show with their friend who's very straight-laced and would not ordinarily do anything embarrassing, and the next thing they know, the person's up on stage singing like Madonna, and that sticks in their mind, and they realize the power of hypnosis in that moment. Now, what stage hypnosis shows do is they sort of prey upon people who are called somnambulists. That means sleepwalkers. They're about 10% of our population, and these people are very suggestible. In fact, if we have 1 out of every 10 people being suggestible, if you have 1,000 people listening right now, and I were to make a remark that was designed for the somnambulists, 10% of them would react. So we'd have to be very careful. We'd have 100 people reacting to that command. That's how programmable somnambulists are. And in a stage hypnosis show, the stage hypnotist, the first job that he or she must do is to weed them out. And the way they do that is with a suggestibility test. They say, okay, everyone put your hands over your head and interlace your fingers. And because your fingers are interlaced, you'll realize that you cannot pull them apart. Try as you may, you cannot pull them apart. Most people in the audience will pull their fingers apart and say, what are you talking about? I can pull my fingers apart. But some people in the audience, about 10%, will be stuck. Because the hypnotist said, you cannot pull your fingers apart, their fingers are stuck and they cannot pull them apart. They need the hypnotist to pull them apart, so they get invited up on the stage. Okay, you people with your fingers stuck together.
So that's how they decide.
That's how they find their victims, their subjects, the people who they're going to work with.
These stage hypnotists have sort of given the profession, not a bad name, but they've sort of made it difficult for people to understand what hypnosis is all about.
Yes, I agree. And I used to ban them from the American Alliance of Hypnotists, which I run, which is a global organization. I used to keep them out because of that. Now I realize that, okay, they're changing the view of it, but at least, the guy who saw his best buddy sing like Madonna, at least now that guy is forevermore a believer in hypnotherapy. His friend probably doesn't remember anything about the experience, but he will, and he's going to sort of evangelize and tell others. So I realize the power of stage hypnotists to spread the word about hypnotherapy, so now I let them in. But yeah, they are skewing it. They're making it look like it's for tricks and for fun and for deceiving people and making them do silly stuff, and it's really so much more than that when we put it in a therapeutic setting in an office.
Interesting. So I know that most of your recordings and other hypnotherapists, that they suggest that you listen at night, but I noticed, for example, on your website that you also had daytime affirmations. So what's the difference, and how do the daytime ones work?
Well, we have, out of the 25 or so different types of recording, daytime, backward daytime, subliminal, backward subliminal, paralinear, omniliminal, gold, diamond, platinum, titanium, double diamond, triple diamond, and so forth. Out of all the 25 different types of recording, hypnosis recordings that we have, about half of them are for daytime use. And the difference is that the nighttime ones have a suggestion for falling into a restful sleep, and they're designed to listen to as you go to bed at night. You listen to them, they put you to sleep. Half the recording you don't even hear because you're out, but it still goes into your subconscious mind. And thanks to Professor Hilgard up at UC Davis, we have information that indicates that we still get information while we sleep, so we don't have to worry about it. But the other half of the recordings are designed to be listened to in the daytime because sometimes people have a long drive somewhere, they're jogging or doing homework, and they'd like to listen to something and make use of that time. So we have recordings of various types for the daytime. We have the very basic ones, daytime affirmations, which are just me talking in a very monotone voice about the change that you're going to have. They're designed to be listened to anytime, anywhere. You can listen to them while you're driving, for example, because there are no suggestions for relaxation, and there are no binaural tones, which we've also found to be relaxing. So there's no chance of you swerving off the road, for example, because of going into a trance, because there's no trance being suggested. So that's the difference between daytime and nighttime. But then some people want to listen to my recordings while they study, and they don't really want to hear my voice saying, you're going to lose weight, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, because that interferes with their studying. So we have subliminal recordings where the words are masked, so that you hear just ocean sounds and music, and underneath that is my voice saying you're going to change in whichever way.
Oh, interesting.
So subliminal recordings were popular in the 70s. You may remember subliminal advertising by Coca-Cola at the theaters and all the negative publicity it got. Subliminal programming is not, as we look at it scientifically, it's not even as powerful as someone just walking up to you in the street and saying, hey, eat broccoli instead of a candy bar. But it does, so when we stack it up against direct suggestion, it doesn't do so well. But it is programming that's going to go into your subconscious mind. It's just not as powerful as a direct suggestion. But the reason we have subliminal is so that people can listen to it while they're studying, and they, over time, that's why we recommend 3 weeks, over time, the message does get in there and does change them without them being preoccupied about thinking about the message or even consciously hearing it at all.
So is there any habit, lifestyle change, anything that can't be addressed using hypnosis?
Not that I know of. And if there is, let me know. We'll make a recording about it.
I know, really.
We'll find a way to get it into your subconscious mind because as far as I know,
I've been looking all over your site looking for one. I know you have one to stop overeating, but don't know. Do you have a kick? Oh, you do have one. You do have a sugar cravings one.
Stop sugar cravings.
I think I'm going to have to have you come to a teleseminar, and we'll do another one to stop sugar cravings.
Okay. Yeah, that's very popular.
Yeah. So, what about love? What about
Love?
money? Love,
We have,
money.
sure, we have a recording called Love Magnet. We have one for women, one for men. We have Abundance, and that's using the law of attraction to get what you want. And I think that's what attracted John Asseroff to the book that I co-wrote with Frank Mangano, the You Can Attract It book, because he saw that we were into abundance. So John from The Secret was glad to write the foreword for us. But we have Abundance, we have Unlimited Wealth. These are recordings that we have. We have 25 different versions of each. We have I believe it's called Stop Being a Doormat for women. Sometimes, they get. We had a lot of emails, women saying, "Hey, I'm getting walked all over in relationships." So I made 25 different recordings for them. We have a recording for men called No More Mr. Nice Guy, because that's the equivalent of the No More Miss Doormat. We had guys who were getting walked all over, so we came to their rescue. So these are all driven by consumers and patients writing in saying, "Hey, can you help me?" So we come up with some help.
So I'm glad actually that you brought up You Can Attract It, because I was just going to segue into that. So tell us how your book, You Can Attract It, came into being.
Well, consumer health advocate Frank Mangano,
right.
He's a good friend of mine. He
who we tried to get today, but I guess he couldn't make it.
Frank's in New York, and he is very, just like everyone else in New York, he's very busy, and he's constantly talking with people and all, whatever they do in New York, he's doing.
I haven't tracked him down yet. I'm
Good luck.
I'm nearby.
I've got a cell phone number, but even I have trouble tracking him down. So the book has taken off tremendously, and because of that, his schedule has gotten a little hectic. But the book You Can Attract It is something that we thought about 3 years ago, and Frank said, how can I, meaning Frank, a consumer health advocate, someone who tells you what kind of berries to eat and what kind of cereal to eat and dispels all of the myths that we hear from various sources and gets right down to what you should do for your health, what's really going to work. How can a guy like that and a hypnotherapist get together and write a book about the law of attraction? How can we combine our expertise to write a book? And would it even make sense? So we started thinking it over, and what we realized is that we both had a tremendous wealth of information from our own personal lives about how we became successful. And it really had to do with just believing in ourselves and using the law of attraction, putting out there to the universe what we wanted and accepting the results. And we said, well, if we can just put that into some kind of quantifiable step-by-step program and put it in a book and make it interesting, then people will be able to change their lives. So that's what we did. And so we have a lot of hypnotherapy in there from myself. From Frank, we have a lot of just positive ideas about proper, healthy living. And then John Asseroff got word of it. John Asseroff, who was one of the stars of the movie The Secret, and he said, hey, guys, I want to be part of this. How can I help? And so he wrote the foreword to the book. He read, at that time it was only a manuscript. He read through the manuscript. He said, that's great. He made about 5 to 10 suggestions, things that could make it even better before it went to press. And then he wrote the foreword for us because he was so inspired by it. And he said, this is exactly the stuff that I'm trying to tell people. So we all got together and made it happen, and it's been wonderful ever since.
So what do you think, what is the biggest mistake you think that people make when it comes to making their dreams come true, whether it's to lose weight, kick sugar, find a man or a woman, make money?
I think the biggest belief is doubt. They don't think it's going to work. And the second biggest problem is that they really don't want it to happen. They think they do, but they don't. Sometimes, as Dr. Phil would say, there's a payoff. There's a payoff in being overweight. There's a payoff in being alone. When you're overweight, you get attention. You get to say, hey, I'm trying to do this, but it's just not working. And when you're overweight, you get to keep people away. At least the person who's overweight thinks so. And along with that usually comes the downtrodden attitude, which is really what does it, because there are plenty of overweight people who are extremely attractive because of their attitude, the way they get out there, and they're very attractive to other people, but the attitude also brings them down. So sometimes people want to be in that place. They just want to be alone, but they don't consciously realize it. So that's where hypnotherapy comes in, and that's where the law of attraction comes in. But really we stand in our own ways because we're not aware subconsciously of what we want and how that balances out with our conscious minds. Because consciously we want one thing, but subconsciously there's a reason why we're smoking or overweight or alone. And that is because we feel that to be any other way would on some level be painful. So our subconscious mind wants to keep us there to keep us safe.
And so the way to get over that then is to listen for 21 days, whether it's to, one of your hypnosis CDs or some hypnosis CD, so that makes it less, I don't want to use the word painful, but it makes it easier to do.
Right. And in the book, You Can Attract It, we have a full program which even goes beyond that. It gets into people doing work in their conscious minds, and while they're awake, to figure out the reasons, the payoffs, to structure their lives around that, to make sure their lives are congruent with their goals, and to start using the system that we developed, that we present in the book, which is going to allow you to start living the life that you consciously want to live, and to get your subconscious mind on board with that at the same time. Mm-hmm. But as far as the hypnotherapy part of it, which is actually a small part of the You Can Attract It book, as far as that goes, yes, that is a matter of listening to recordings and programming yourself. But we also in the book teach you how to make your own recordings. So we really put you in the driver's seat.
So tell our listeners, how would you make your own recordings?
Well, to make a hypnotherapy recording, you just get some kind of recording device, and some people still have, because the museums haven't collected them all yet, some people still have cassette recorders, and you can press play, record, and record something the good old-fashioned way, which is the way I did it in the 80s. Actually, the recording studios.
Well, they're now digital ones too. People want to do their own little.
Right. So yes. So what we recommend now would be, of course, an MP3 recorder, which you can get for $25 at Walmart, and just get a little handheld digital recorder, and you record a wave or an MP3 on there. But you don't even have to know about the technology. You just go to Walmart, spend $25, get a recorder, record it, and you can play it back at night if you want to do it the easiest possible way. But the way you do it is you first have an induction where you're relaxing yourself. It's about 10 minutes long, a relaxing walk on the beach where you involve all of the senses, and then a deepening, which is if you're using the beach as your induction, then the deepening would be about 5 minutes where the sun is going down and you're counting backwards from 10 to 1, and leave a little silence between each part as a nice transition, and then a script where you're changing yourself, telling yourself you're going to be more abundant, attract more positive things and people into your life, and so forth. And then amnesia, which is an attempt to scramble your conscious recollection of what's been said so you don't overanalyze it. And if you record it yourself, that may be a bit of a challenge for you to forget what you actually said, but at least it causes you to not overanalyze it as much. And then the transtermination, which is either you telling yourself to wake up, or if you want to make it for nighttime use, telling yourself to just drift off into sleep and wake up in the morning. And that's really all there is to a hypnosis session.
So tell us some more about your book as well.
Well, the book, You Can Attract It, it's available through Barnes & Noble. You can, if your local Barnes & Noble doesn't carry it, you can at least order it through them, and they will get it in. It is a book that's designed to be a user's guide to your life. You're able to change your life by using it. And when I say change your life, I mean change every aspect of your life. The things that you don't like, you can eliminate. The things that you want to have in your life that you don't have, you can add. So there are all sorts of things. But we break that down into a number of chapters, and I'm glad to go through the procedure, if you'd like, for what we do.
Sure.
Okay. Well, we decided that there were simple steps to getting what you want. And these are the steps. So if people are listening, now's the time, if you haven't already, to get a pen and paper, because I'll give you the simple steps to getting what you want. And the trick is to actually do the steps. So step 1 is changing your negative thoughts into positive thoughts. So let go of the idea of waking up every day and saying it's going to be a terrible day, or I'll never be a millionaire, or I'll always be stuck in this job, or whatever it is that you're saying over and over. Let go of that and replace it with positive thoughts and positive affirmations. The second step is to know what you do not want. And this is kind of a peculiar step. Most people don't ever take this step, so that's why they have a lot of things in their lives that they don't want. So the second step is to know what you do not want. I do not want this type of relationship. I do not want to live in this type of neighborhood. I do not want to do this. Some people live near an airport or a bus station. They really don't want that. They don't want to live in that neighborhood. They want to live in a neighborhood that's more serene and so forth. So people oftentimes don't think about that. They don't think about what they don't want because they just think, well, when I get what I do want, what I don't want will just be gone anyway. But it doesn't necessarily work that way. So you make a list of what you don't want. What aren't you going to take anymore? The next step is to know what you do want. Well, if you say you don't want to live in this neighborhood because it's right near the airport, and when I was in Marina Del Rey, by the way, in California, I lived right near the airport.
Yeah, I know that area.
I'm sorry?
I know that area.
Yeah, I guess, you just hear them take off all day long. It was awful. I did my best to program myself to block it out, but it was still there. And friends would point it out all the time and say, I can't believe you live near this. So Marina Del Rey is nice, but it's just too close to the airport. So now I live on an island on the water. So I created that by realizing what I don't want and what I do want. Don't want airplanes, do want water. So now I have... I don't have what I don't want. I do have what I do want. So, yeah, Marina Del Rey, not the best place to live if you don't like airplanes. The next step is to step 4, ask for it. So you know what you do want from step 3. You've made a list. And this is something that you can work on later, those of you listening. You don't have to make a complete list now. But step 4 is to ask for it. Ask for what you do want. So in my case, it was a nice big home right by the water with dolphins swimming by. That's what I wanted to do, right on the water with dolphins swimming by.
Dolphins? Cool.
Yep, dolphins. And now I have that. Now in my backyard, dolphins swim by from the ocean. So it's just wonderful. They're about 100 feet from the actual back of my house. Dolphins swim by.
Wow.
Yeah. So ask for what you want. And step 5 is allow it. So when that opportunity came up to buy this house, I thought, I had to do some thinking. Do I really want it? Do I really deserve it? So forth. And so that's one place where people find that they stumble quite a bit, allowing it. So it's you've asked for it, you've got your list, here it is, it's knocking at the door, it's available, you've got to allow it into your life. Just like that perfect person, quote-unquote perfect person, I don't believe there are any perfect people, but the perfect person for you. If they show up at your door, what are you going to do? Are you going to say, I don't deserve this, I'm going to send them away? No, the thing to do is to allow it to happen. You asked for it, now allow it. So that's step 5, allow it. Step 6 is receive it, enjoy it, be thankful for it, surround yourself with it. Now repeat that again. Step 6, receive it, enjoy it, be thankful for it, and surround yourself with it. So when I, for example, back to my personal story, when I moved into this house, I was out there watching the dolphins all the time when I first moved here, and I still am. And I really enjoy the house, and I open it up to my friends, and I really enjoy it, having people over and just sharing it with everyone. And so that's a big part of it also, because the universe wants to see evidence of you really being thankful and really enjoying it, and so does your subconscious mind. I mean, if you get it and you don't like it, and you're not appreciative for it, then your subconscious mind is going to say, all right, no more of this. But if you enjoy it and receive it with gratitude and thankfulness, then your subconscious mind says, we're going to make a lot more of this. So, in summary, step 1 is change your negative thoughts into positive thoughts. Step 2, know what you do not want. Step 3, know what you do want. Step 4, ask for it. Step 5, allow it. Step 6, receive it, enjoy it, be thankful for it, and surround yourself with it.
That's a wonderful list. Really, really wonderful. What do you say to people who are stuck? Whether it's stuck in, let's say they have challenges around money, weight. Well, what are the big ones? Money, weight, sugar, love. Did I leave anything else? Anything out? Like the huge ones that I'm trying to come up with a subject that all listeners can find something to relate to.
Yeah, I see people stuck in that all the time, stuck with those things. And really they all get down to love, because when we want to lose weight, we're really trying to attract love. When we want money, it's sort of, unless we just want money to, get by or to fund an organization or whatever big thing we're starting next. In many cases, it's just a substitute for love. We feel that if we have more money, we'll have more love. So a lot of these things really boil down to either wanting love or not realizing we want love and concealing it as something else. But
yeah, I talk a lot about how that it's not just sugar that you want, but you really want sweetness in your life. And yeah, it could come in the form of love, but sweetness in all ways. Okay, so what do you say to people who are stuck in challenges around money, love, weight, or I guess sugar?
Well, first of all, it's important to realize that we're all, and me included, we're all stuck somewhere at some time in our lives. None of us are immune to this. Even Steve G. Jones, the hypnotherapist, is not immune to this. I get stuck sometimes when I think about doing the next thing. Right now, I'm looking at a house by the water in San Diego, California, that I'm looking at purchasing, and I'm looking at it thinking, wow, that's a nice house. It's rather expensive, So
you're talking about moving all the way from Georgia back to California.
I'm looking into it. A lot of my friends are still great friends from out there, and maybe I'll maintain both residences because I really enjoy being in Georgia also. But there's a lot going on in California that I don't want to miss out on. A lot of opportunities, a lot of amazing things I'm seeing, and I kind of want to jump back into the mix.
It's so funny that you're bringing that up. We have to talk later. I'm from California originally.
What part?
I'm from Northern, but I lived in Southern. And there's a part of me that's, I like New York, but there's a part of me that, anyhow, I'm a California girl. So, okay, so people who are stuck, because we've got just a few minutes remaining here, what can we do? Or what can they do? I guess I don't want to lump myself into the stuck. But I'm probably stuck and working too hard.
There you go. None of us are immune to it. No matter how far we go, there's always the next thing we can get stuck at. So the first thing to realize is that it's just part of the human condition. We all get stuck from time to time. So we can put ourselves in.
So we got like about 60 seconds. Just wanted to warn you.
The trick is to believe in yourself and to recreate your future, which it hasn't been written yet. So focus on the future and the ideal version of yourself in the future. That is the trick.
Okay.
And you will gravitate toward it.
Awesome. Any last final words of wisdom or thoughts?
Well, I like to always say that Oz never did give nothing to the Tin Man that he didn't already have, the song from America. But if you feel that you do need help, a jump start to remember how powerful you are, hypnotherapy is the way to get there, is the way to remember the powers that you already do have.
Well, I am going to invite people to go to my blog. A little bit later, we're going to have all kinds of links to all kinds of wonderful programs on Steve's site. So I want to thank you so very, very much for being so generous with your time. It was absolutely fascinating here. I know I'm going to order a few of your programs now myself.
Oh, wonderful. My pleasure, Connie. Thank you for making this possible.
Thank you so much, Steve. Really, really appreciate it.
Okay. Take care.
Okay. So that is our show for this week. We are going to go back next week to having more shows. Again, we have a show on forgiveness scheduled for next week, and we have more exciting shows the week after that. So we're actually not taking off this summer for shows, and we're going to talk about a variety of different subjects to help you so that you can break free of bad habits, and so that you can get more energy, and so that you can have a life of glee. Anyhow, our guest today was the renowned hypnotherapist Steve G. Jones, and you will find him all over the internet, and you'll be able to get more information on my blog, which is sugarshockblog.com. So again, Steve, thank you so very, very much, and I hope listeners you'll tune in next week. And this is Connie, and I hope you have a very, very sweet week. Until next week.
Thanks for listening to the Gab with the Gurus radio show with Connie Bennett. Remember, you can listen to archived shows at any time thanks to Blog Talk Radio. Just go to gabwiththegurus.com. If you like this radio show, please mark it a favorite and tell your friends. Learn about upcoming shows at gabwiththegurus.com.